and Craig can't wait to draw.
Right. Now, on that, what did you use as kind of your inspiration in terms of how to create these characters and give them a look that's not just kind of like, you know, Harry and the Hendersons?
Well, I actually kind of thought of what's been done before, and I didn't want to copy, like you said, Harry and the Hendersons or other, like Sasquatch from the Alpha Flight and other things. So I kind of just took my sensibilities and took the characters and really kind of simplified them. In my mind, I kept thinking it would be a great cartoon. So they're really kind of simple shapes that if you look at them, you say, you know, there's Bigfoot, there's a Chupacabra, you know, there's the Dover Demon, and each of them have a unique kind of physical appearance. But something that I think would be fun to draw, and you can kind of relate to the descriptions that you would read about in websites and research.
Now, one thing in terms of the what he was saying, in terms of when you're saying, well, that's a Chupacabra, that's a Bigfoot, and everything. When I describe this to new readers, because like I said, I'm a fan and I actually work at a retail store as part of my day job. When I'm describing this to potential new readers, I often find myself comparing it to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, just in the sense that you take a well-known and well-established characters and put a little spin on them and put them all in one place. So how do you as a writer go about kind of making them different than they've ever been before?
I think that, and I was saying this before to the previous guy who was here, the characters, we had an idea of what the characters were. A lot of people have said that I had worked on Young Justice before it, a lot of the preparation for Young Justice. And both Craig and I worked on Impulse. A lot of people see a little bit of Impulse in Chupi. I created a character called The Secret that was eventually in Young Justice. She was nothing like what I had planned to do with her, but some of the things I had planned to do with her are Molly the Ghost. So these characters, you know, they had their basis in rather archetypical places, but now their dynamics, their interactions have made them into totally different characters. And their interactions with each other and their interactions with me, there have been a couple times I've told Craig and he thinks I'm crazy, but the characters have changed the story because they've jumped up and said, hey, wait, we're not doing that. What if we did this? What if we did? And I've heard that from Chupi, I've heard it from Big, I've heard it from Molly, and the Aswang. She definitely wanted to come back and kick some tail.
Now, do you guys do you have a favorite character in the series?
Changes every day.
It does. For a while, you know, the obvious choice is Chupi, and it's almost too obvious. And lately, Molly's been a lot of fun, and I really get a kick out of Carl the Mothman because he's such you know, intimidating looking character, yet he's really goofy at the same time. And I've grown to like the poor little guy, and it's a shame what's going to happen to him. Oh, I've said too much.
Now, on that note, actually, did you see that they had a Mothman special on what it was, Super Paranormal State?
Yep. I watch it all. If it's going on, I'm watching it. Paranormal State, the Ghostly Encounter shows, all the stuff that A&E and the Biography Channel put on. I've got them all DVR'd. I'm on it all. So I watch all that stuff. Sometimes I know it all already, and sometimes there's some new tidbits of information. But yeah, I saw Ryan and those guys going for that, and was interested in the way that he approached his own investigation into it. I'm really good friends with inker extraordinaire Terry Austin, and back in the 70s when the Mothman Prophecies book came out, the book that the movie's slightly based on, pretty much based on, it was a big hit in the offices at Marvel Comics, and Terry and editor Carl Potts actually went down to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Terry showed me all these photos that he took of all the places where the people had been. So he had done his own little investigation, and his enthusiasm for it translated over to me, and so I was like, oh man, the Mothman story is great. We've built it up to some of the things that they projected about it, that there's an entire tribe of them, that they're harbingers of doom, that they're the angels of death, really, that they have been seen throughout history before moments of great disaster. There were sightings before 9/11. There were sightings before the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. These are, you know, key moments in history where there has been total destruction and disaster, and people have seen these weird creatures. So why couldn't they be out there? But what we do with our story and where we take it next, it gets a little crazy. So hopefully it's interesting.
Now, one thing that I noticed that when I was looking back over kind of your collected work when I first started talking to you, was that between the Perhapenauts and Telos, you're one of the only creators I can think of who's a really mainstream creator, who's worked with almost exclusively mainstream publishers, and you've had 2 big successes with 2 completely non-superhero properties, and yet you're not Frank Miller or Alan Moore. Is that something that you specifically seek out, or is it just that that's where your head goes when you're looking for the next story?
I think it's the industry in a lot of cases. The industry kind of dictates where we all go and what's going on. It was really, you know, I feel myself to be one of the luckiest people alive to have had the opportunities to work on Spider-Man and the X-Men and Impulse and World Without Grown-Ups and some of the things that I did at Marvel and DC. It was great to be able to play with the icons and do that, especially Spider-Man was just you know, what a lucky person I was. And to work with Mike Wieringo, to work with Craig, to be blessed with these collaborators. But it became tough for a while to be able to go into Marvel and DC with more, not lighthearted stories, but more character-driven stories, because they were looking for such grim and gritty stuff, and I just didn't want to do that. And so it seemed like the better thing to do was to go and do what I wanted to do, and then every once in a while kind of step in and see if I could get a job doing some Spider-Man, some Fantastic Four, some Batman. And I've been pretty fortunate. Craig, on the other hand, is in, did I say demand? Is in hot demand now, so I don't know how much longer I'll be able to keep my buddy with me.
Enough of you. I mean, in the same vein where I really enjoy working in superheroes, and I worked on Impulse and Batman Beyond, and I really enjoyed that, but I've also really enjoyed the creator-owned stuff where the Perhapenauts, anything goes. Anything that I want to draw, we can draw. If we want to put the cast of Scrubs in a panel, for the heck of it, we can. Whereas everything is much more editorial-driven at Marvel and DC, and that's great to work on the icons. I mean, I just did an X-Men issue that I love doing, and then I went back to drawing the Perhapenauts, what I love drawing. So it was the best of both worlds right now.
But if you want to put in Old Spice, you can get away with that at a Marvel book.
That's true.
All right, well, you guys seem to be developing more people over here, so I'll let you get back to the convention. Thanks very much for sitting down with me, and I'll probably see you again sometime. Thanks.
For ComicRelated.com, this is Todd DeZego
And Craig Russo.
of the Perhapenauts. Thanks a lot. Keep watching.